Hey, I am Wes. I'm a worship pastor in North Carolina, and you are watching a series of videos answering commonly asked questions to church leaders, worship pastors like myself. In fact, the entire series is called Why? Why is it that we sit here and look at people up there? Why is it that it's so loud? Why is it that the song right now is so high I can't even sing it? These and other commonly asked questions are the point of the entire series. Today specifically, we're going to be talking about the commotion about all the motion. Why is it that people do things during worship? Why are there flags and why are there shofars and why is it that that guy over there is laying down and this person over here is sitting, but this person over here is raising both hands straight up like a field goal? Just went through and it's good. Why is it? Which, by the way, pro tip, shofars only play in one key. So I have a story about that, but I'll save it for another time. As with this and any of the other videos in this series, some bits are going to be fact and other bits are going to be more like opinion. So keep that in mind, and if you'd like to catch any of the other videos, you can click right up here, and then while you're at it, you might as well click that red button down there and subscribe to make sure that all the new content is sent straight to you right out of the gate. And of course, tune in to the very end of the video to make sure that you catch the 3 reasons why I think physical expression in worship can make all the difference. So, for example, you're standing in church on Sunday morning and the first song kicks off. The people on stage are looking pretty excited. The worship leader person is already shouting, but you're just holding your coffee, just trying to clear your mind, get over the fight you just had with your spouse in the car on the way over, when someone 2 rows up lifts their hands and you're thinking, it is only the second song. Okay, sheesh, really? Listen, we've all been there, and maybe you're not that much of a hand raiser. Maybe you shrug your shoulders and look up at that person up there and just think, well, to each his own, and go back to your coffee. And you think, I might be there too, maybe by the end of song number 3. So flash back to the Old Testament. We have the people of God, the chosen nation, who are saved out of Egypt, and they head into the desert where they first stop for a pit stop at Mount Sinai. Moses goes up the mountain, God comes down, we get the 10 Commandments, but not just the 10 Commandments, we get tons of laws and instructions. Actually, the first 5 books of the Bible are known as the Torah, which are like the instruction manual for the people of God, or the Jews today, on how to worship, how to live. It's everything from boil popping to whether or not you should shave your beard or sideburns, how to quarantine yourself, all the way to things like how to worship in the tent that God showed them how to make. Another great book to look at would be the Psalms, which is Israel's ancient songbook, hymnal, if you will, that they used in worship all the time. Various passages like Psalm 34 verse 1, Psalm 27 verse 6, Psalm 47 verse 6, Psalm 95 verse 6, Psalm 119 verse 20, Psalm 149 verse 3, Psalm 33 verse 2, Psalm 47 verse 1, and Psalm 63 verse 4, to name just a few. These passages and ones like them help describe some of what Israel did in order to show that they were set apart and not like all the other nations in the world, and it gave them some sort of handles on how to approach God and how to express their devotion. We see things from spoken word to our physical posture and even what to do with our hands. And so, without further ado, here are 3 things I think help us as we're engaging in worship and make all the difference. Number 1, our physical movements, the things that we do with our hands, or the ways that we lay on the ground or dance like David, they are physical representations of a spiritual reality. As we're trying to describe that we are bowed in spirit or we're humbling ourselves, it makes sense to bow. Or you might say, as someone important walks into the room, it makes sense to stand up. Just as the bride walks in the doors at a wedding, everyone stands to pay honor, not just to the bride, but to everything that the wedding means. Number 2, engaging in this way helps us to focus our attention on God and what we're doing, and it wakes us up. If you are getting ready to do some sort of physical activity, exercise, let's say, it makes sense to warm up your muscles ahead of time before you actually engage in the strenuous part of your physical exertion. Worship is the same way. It does something inside of us that begins to change how we're experiencing the moment, what we're actually hearing, what our minds are attuned to, and it helps us to make that turn from what we went through on the way to church to what's happening right now in the corporate gathering. Number 3, it encourages us and it challenges those around us. We might be tempted to blend in on a Sunday morning during worship, but when we look at the biblical account, we don't see that as a precedent. Instead, we see King David, who is bringing the ark back to Jerusalem, and he is dancing with all his might, such that his wife, the queen, who happens to be Saul's daughter, is blown away. Why would you make such a fool of yourself? And he comes back and he says, actually, I'm not worried about my own reputation. And the people that saw me dancing, they're actually honored by what I did. They're inspired, if you will. And in fact, if your faith in Jesus causes you to ask, what's in it for me? Or how am I being perceived right now? Then you might be a bit confused. Faith in Jesus should cause us to ask, what's in it for others? How am I inspiring, challenging, loving them? Here's the bottom line. Let's take steps towards physical engagement in worship on Sunday morning. We see it modeled in Scripture, and I can tell you from my own experience that it's made a difference for me in the way that I experience the presence of God and engage with Him in worship. And no one should jump straight from coffee to commotion. But if you're looking for the next step in your walk with Jesus, maybe this is one of the things that He wants to do new in you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.